Okay. In their home turf, as I was saying. What do you think? I mean, do you see any weaknesses that you can exploit?
Yes.
Against the Sri Lankan game, without, of course, tipping your hand, maybe because they might
no.
Sri Lankan spice here.
Well,
no,
they're all good questions. Good questions. So,
okay.
What Sri Lankans I've seen so far, they're very, very enthusiastic, but sometimes over enthusiastic. So sometimes they break their systems, and we've just got to identify when they break their systems, what are our strategies to do that. And so when I talk about systems, if they're defending and two people rush up out of the system, rush up and isolate the other 13 players, that we can find a gap behind them. And it's for us staying in our system for the whole match and staying in control. A big part of it is actually getting their crowd to work against them in terms of putting pressure, making them into, pushing them into mistakes. And when the crowd is sort of getting anxious and a little bit upset with their performance of their home team, that's when visiting teams see that and then obviously get on the front foot. So little things like that. We know traditionally Sri Lankans don't like confrontation, physical confrontation. We're talking about all legal stuff here, not illegal. But so what I have noticed, the Filipino boys don't mind getting stuck into breakdown and being very ferocious at the breakdown. So we just need to be a little bit smart in how we upset the Sri Lankans, and we'll talk about that in our tactics of how we can get under their skin and frustrate them.
I suppose the easiest equation is that we're going into a battle. It really is a battle zone. Not just Sri Lanka. Any time the Philippines has to go and play a game of rugby, we're putting our bodies on the line. You can come off the field with a pretty severe injury, broken bones, gashed heads. There's not many games that we go to where we're not at the hospital after games. So preparing to go in a battle, you have to have tactics, you have to have strategies, you have to have teamwork, you have to have discipline. There's a lot of things that go into the makeup of rugby and the psyche of a player and how you prepare a team. And of course, Sri Lanka at home are going to be fierce opponents. They will be very proud to be at home, and our boys will have to be psychologically really prepared for an onslaught. They're going to be hurting. They're going to be hurting big time out there. It's about getting over the hurt, pushing through the barrier, and then of course sticking to what Stu said, sticking to our game tactics, sticking by our friends, knowing that we know if we stick to these systems and these plans, we have the opportunity to win. Then again, it's a game of skill and flair, and if you saw the try against Japan on Saturday, when Matt Saunders took a great intercept, those things can happen as well. So it is an exciting game too. But it's going to be a great battle, and it'll be a fierce contest, I'm sure, for the Volcanoes over there. We do have 5 fresh players coming in on Friday who will boost the ranks. They are 5 of our top players. Our captain and vice captain from previous teams will be coming in. So we're quietly confident that the fresh legs and the troops are coming over the hill to assist us, because we've just had a hard battle the last 2 weeks. The troops are coming to help. And when they arrive, we'll stick down and really get prepared and go over there and give it our best shot.
And just to follow up, speaking of players, Sir Matt, speaking of players, I don't see a lot of schools playing the game actually, the rugby. Are there programs that promotes the game to schools or universities here locally?
Okay, great question, and we're going to talk about development. I'm going to talk about that at the end. I've got a video to specifically highlight what we're doing on the ground here as a Philippine Rugby Union to develop the sport of rugby here in the Philippines at foundations, schools, universities, and club level. And I'll show you a quick video and I'll take some questions on that at the end. Let's just stick to the Volcanoes at the moment and what's going on. Has anyone got any more questions to the Volcanoes about 15s or 7s programs?
Matt, you mentioned that you mentioned there are 5 players coming. Who are the 5 players?
You want to tell them?
Yeah.
Who they are and what position?
5 of our top players that are returning for the second leg of the campaign will be our last year and our past captain, my brother Michael Letts,
He's coming in and playing fullback. We also have Chris Hitch, who was our vice captain last year. We also have Michael Doohy, who will beefing up our forward pack, which we really need. We also have Ronald Fong, who is from the back row. He went to school here.
And he went to Brent International School and learned all his rugby here.
And we also have the return of Raf Zappia, Ruben's older brother, who will come back and he will again once put his weight behind our forward pack. And we also have Phil Abraham, our hooker. So taking into consideration those 5 players plus 2 of our injured players, young Ben Saunders and Gaz Holgate, you'll find that our team for the next 2 weeks is a lot stronger. In terms of taking on Sri Lanka, we need these boys in order to compete, and to have them back is really going to strengthen our side.
Any other questions?
Do you guys have fundings or help from the Philippine government since you're aiming for the 2016 Olympics? Do you have any support for that? Because I know that, like with Dragon Boat, because my brothers are members of the Philippine team, they don't have any support and they have to really look for it themselves.
Yeah, we've actually built up a really positive relationship with the Philippine Sports Commission and more recently the Philippine Olympic Committee. A lot of people don't know it. We actually won a silver medal back in 2007 at the Southeast Asian Games, which automatically qualifies us to become a national sports association. So through our efforts of winning a medal at those regional games, we were instantly invited to become a national sports association. And so between 2008 and 2014, this year, we've been developing the sport and we've had a lot of success. The Sports Commission are now rewarding us with some good help with our training camps, with our national team programs, and I'll tell you what they're doing with our development in the country. And it's great to not only see the Sports Commission supporting a team that's done so well and has the opportunity of winning a medal at the Asian Games and maybe going to the Olympics, but they're also realising that it is a sport that can be developed here in the Philippines at the grassroots level, particularly the sevens rugby, and the kids are out there enjoying it. So it's something that we're very focused on developing. And I read an article maybe 6 months ago from the media, and it was quite interesting. Up until 2012, a lot of the media were slightly sceptical of rugby because they didn't understand, know, or had watched it. And the article said, you know, after the successes of this team, rugby's here to stay. And if you go down and see our new facility down in Selangor, you'll understand that, the PSC are very proud that we've been able to actually develop the sport with our own resources, plus theirs, and now we're building our own facilities and finding our own sponsors. And we have a very positive relationship with particular Commissioner Jolly Gomez. He's been very, very helpful. And he is particularly focused on grassroots development of not only rugby, but all the sports that he's overlooking. So we've had excellent support there. Any other questions before we wrap up? Okay.
Could you please clear this up? What makes the difference between men's 15 and men's 7? Do the players from each play for the same?
Yeah, okay, in the men's 15s, it's, okay, rugby's played on the same size field as a football field, aka Result Stadium. The Ascals play there, the Volcanoes play there. On 15 side, you have 15 players against 15 players, meaning there's less space out there. So if I'm out there and I want to attack and run through and score at the other end, then stand up Glenn and Chris. Okay, if I have to run through these guys when there's 15 of them out there and there's less space, it's really, really hard. You've got to be physical, you've got to run through them. Okay, sit down guys. Okay, stand up, Jake. Okay, Jake is a sevens player, where you have seven out there. Now, if I've got to run around Jake and it's only 7 on 7, then it's a lot easier. Okay, so it's about 15 on 15, less spaces on the field, meaning you have to have a lot more big guys like Glenn and Chris to actually barge through the defence and use the physicality, whereas out there 7-on-7, you have the field is 70 metres wide. That means I'm one-on-one with my opponent and I have 10 metres. So I'm fast, skilled, speedful, agile, just like the guys at basketball, then I can carve it up. So 15s is a little bit harder on the local Filipino kids, teaching them they much prefer playing the 7s because it's about speed, skill, agility and teamwork. So that's what we're finding, and the kids are really enjoying that aspect. The games we're playing at the moment, we need these big guys. We're playing 15s. So there are two versions of rugby, 15-a-side and 7-a-side. No problem. Okay, any more comments from the panel before we wrap it up this morning? Last comment, Jake, leading into the last two games?
First of all, I just want to thank all the press for coming today. Thanks for your time, we really appreciate it. You'll find over the next 2 weeks, the performance of the Volcanoes will definitely increase. Not only through the structure of more players coming in, but through our head coach Stuart coming back into the side. He really leads us in a direction whereby we learn a lot and our game plan is a lot more positive. In terms of, on behalf of all the Volcanoes, we really do appreciate all your support, and in the end, we don't play rugby just for ourselves. We do play for this country, and we play for the support of all Filipinos. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake. And just to come back to the development, I'd just really like to sort of finish on this. I'd quickly like to throw in a video that we recently showed at a rugby function, and obviously the Volcanoes since 2008 have had a lot of success moving up through the ranks in Asia to get to a Trophy division and to get to the Asian Games and to the Rugby World Cup. But the PRFU have now focused on local development at schools, universities, foundations, and I'll just start with this. Bear with me for 1 minute. Ooh, just about run out of power.